Hello, Scorpio, and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. All right, let's get started. And so, Scorpio, tonight we have the Six of Wands, which has everything to do with victory, right? It's also, when we get to the Six of Wands, it's really about that burst of energy that just really like pushes you through the lull, right? If you've ever done like a marathon, if you've ever had a ton of homework to get done, if you've ever, I don't know, had to fold like a mountain of clothes, right? And yeah, you're working so hard and you're starting to wane and thinking, maybe I'll do some tomorrow. Maybe this wasn't the time for me. Maybe. And there's that just whatever it is, and it's like the second wind, right? And it hits ya, and you just have that fire, right? It's like the oxygen, the air on the fire, on that passionate, creative, just resolve, really. And you're pushed through, right? And you're going to finish this. You're going to seek and claim that victory, right? Well, this is the energy that we have for the reading. We're going to see how it coincides with these tea leaf formations. And so we're going to see what these tea leaves have to say. I think knocking on the tea leaf vessel is maybe for politeness. I don't know. I know people do it, people who read the leaves, and so I kind of adopted it into my own practice. I like to think of it as being invited in. Okay, so let's go ahead. I want to say thank you for deciding to click on this reading. If you're new to the channel, welcome. It's lovely to meet you. And if you are returning, welcome home. I love seeing you. I love having you here. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're going to look up here. It looks like a bowl. Okay, you can see the back, you can see the legs, you can see the head, you can see the horn up here. And so we have this real, and again, fiery energy. I don't know that this is a Taurus energy necessarily, although it could be the case. You might have a major Taurus placement in your lunar, your ascendant, or maybe even in your solar. I wouldn't be surprised if it was in the Venus position as well, but listen, it doesn't have to be that you are a Taurus of any prominence, right? It could be that you have that heart, right? You have that fire. And I do feel like, and we have the different stations of the sky here, I do feel like as the cycle progresses and we come into the beginning and on through, this is a sustained energy, right? And that could be a lunar cycle. Now, it could also be the cycle of the sun, right? And so I do feel like this is very much akin to that Six of Wands energy. Six of Wands energy. And I feel like whatever it is that you are working on, whatever you have maybe been considering starting, right? Maybe you have like this dream, this, star in the sky that you've been wishing upon, that you've been looking at and praying and allowing yourself to kind of fantasize about where you might go next, what you might do next, what's down the road for Scorpio. And so this is going to be the time to start really getting this thing rolling, right? Starting out with whatever it is, the planning, gathering resources, You know, maybe it is just making the decision. That's usually the hardest part, is saying, yeah, I absolutely am serious about this and I'm going to do the thing. Now, I also feel like we have a really strong mother goddess energy right here. And now this kind of, it's similar to this. I mean, really, you can see this is based off of ancient, primordial, pre-modern goddess figures, okay? Now, I actually don't know that this is, I think that this is one that the artist kind of took the form of the goddess, but also added a cat, you can see. But it is a similar kind of shape we have. And, oh, let's see here. These are often thought of as mother or fertility, right? Fertility statues. And so when we see this kind of formation, it really is an indicator that, yeah, that creative middle goddess, the one that is kind of the portal, right, for all of the creative inspirations and abstracts and little ideas that we have. This is the energy that we kind of use as the doorway to manifest these things, to create these things. And so I feel like there is this kind of blessing, this little, you know, smile, even if you could imagine the sweet smile of a mother looking over her child as they are learning something, as they are beginning to create. They're laying on the floor, they're coloring pictures, they're developing their own style. And I feel like this really is you, right? And this divine feminine energy is really there blessing you. Not only that, if you don't really necessarily subscribe to the idea that there are these outward energies of, you know, deities and goddesses and gods and other entities, that's fine. This could be, right, you really activating that archetype within self, okay? And that is the one of the nurturing, the creative mother goddess, okay? And so a very earthy energy here. We have the fire, we talked about the air energy, and now also this earth energy feels very potent, okay? Now we also have the serpent next to the goddess, and it almost kind of looks like it's jumping out over this, or out of this box here, kind of like, woo! Now we also have an arrow coming out. You can see right here, here's the head of the arrow, kind of bent, but it looks like we have the serpent, which is very much the idea of knowledge, right? To gain some kind of knowledge in some situation, scenario, ordeal, whatever it is. But we also have that arrow, and that's very much about love, right? And so I feel like in this time, as you are really getting into your power, as you are really beginning to be quite creative and innovative and really put your focus into making things happen, I feel that you are attracting somebody, right? Now, this might not be something that you even care for, right? You might be married, you might be you know, in a long-term relationship, you might be happily single or dating, or you're just not interested. Maybe this person doesn't interest you. Whatever it is, though, I feel like what the real focus here is, it's not about this person, although maybe, I don't know, maybe this is good news. Maybe you are looking to, you know, kind of court this particular person, right? But I feel like this is more about you being aware of the energy you're putting out. Now, that's not to say like, oh, you're acting a certain way, and so yeah, people are going to be attracted to you. That's not what I mean. What I mean is you are on a path of healing, of self-development, of self-evolution. You're raising your energy. Your vibe has changed. You are absolutely like a beacon of light. Your aura is off the charts, right? And of course, you're going to have people that are like stopped in their tracks, and they're going to look and they're going to say like, whoa, there's something about them. There's something about that person, right? And so I feel like this almost is kind of surprising to you in some way, but I really think that it's kind of about being a little more self-aware of how much you've changed in even this maybe short amount of time. And I don't see this being the last person that kind of goes out of their way to say hi to you or to flirt with you or, you know, even ask you out or, you know, try to get into the courtship with you. And on the other hand, it could also be, right? And I always use this as like a, it could also be this, right? That you are married. You're married to this person. And maybe you've had a little bit of a rough patch. Maybe you have been busy. Maybe you haven't been connecting like you used to. Maybe there's even some fears of kind of growing in different directions. Well, I feel like through your own work, and I'm not saying, listen, I'm not saying that you're doing this work to please anybody. Self-work isn't something that leads to happiness always, right? But we know, like we know when we have a pebble in our shoe and we're walking around with it, we know that something has to change. So we start the work if we know that's what it is or not. And as we become, you know, this different being, as we are evolving, as we're changing, we're going through a metamorphosis, of course, we're going to be putting off different kinds of energy. And within our relationships that are already established, those are going to change. I mean, they do. There's no way around it. And I feel like for you, you are lucky because sometimes people go through an awakening while they're in a relationship and it changes them in such a way that they can no longer connect. I mean, it's just not even, you know, something that you're interested in doing. But I feel like in this case, it really is kind of changing your relationship if you are already in one for the better. And I see that there's this desire to really come together and to know each other on a deep level. And I feel like this is really going to be the catalyst for that. And I also, you know, I wonder if your own resolve, again, right? Resolve. Your resolve is influencing this person in your life to get up and change themselves. You know, I think that happens a lot when you're with somebody, especially for many years, right? You start to do something different and maybe they don't notice at first, or there's kind of, oh, that sounds whatever. And then they start to kind of, oh, okay, I see you're really like devoted to this. And like they can see it's starting to change you a little bit. You know, you're starting to feel a little bit better. You're starting to, you know, enjoy things a little bit more. You're excited. You're in that fiery, you know, that fiery energy. It's really, and it feels very potent. I can't emphasize how creative you feel right now and motivated. Now, I want to also look at, it looks like the name Joy, maybe. It could be joy, just joy in general, right? We also have the number 100. It looks like 100. And I want to turn this. We have a person here, okay? you can see here's the head, here's the body, and dropping something over here and riding kind of on top of a horse, okay? And we have almost the same shape. It looks like a mushroom, kind of upside down falling. We have kind of the same shape over here beneath what looks like a little kind of bridge, maybe. A person standing on the bridge right here. You can see where the head would be, the body, and the little legs, and kind of standing here. We have what looks like maybe a little coyote or a wolf kind of rearing up, maybe howling at the moon over here. We have right here. And up here, it looks like we have a person. You can see the head up here. You can see the body here. And their arms are lifted. They're holding what looks like the arrow again. Now, over on this side, it looks like we have a person going into a cave. You can see here's the person. They're holding something. Maybe like an offering or something. Now here's the cave, and in here we have the eye. Okay, so for me that reminds me of the monk's cellar or the monk's cella. This is a most interior room in a temple, right? Now not every temple, but these are old, you know, and I'm trying to think, Greek, Roman, Hebrew, you know, probably I'm imagining into, you know, from the Mediterranean into the Mesopotamian lands, which would be the Near East or Middle East, okay? And so this is a room, it's a room that only particular high priests, priestesses, devotees, not allowed, right? It's just those who really run the whole show. And they're allowed to go in there, and within this room, right, there are different things. It depended on the temple and, you know, who the deity was and so on. But there would be like a little cupboard or like a little closet or even a smaller room within the small room, you know, and this is where they would keep the icon. The icon that nobody but the most initiated, the most elevated could witness, could see, could tend to. And this is a real sign of the Hierophant, okay? Because it's all about the tradition. It's all about upkeeping, you know, the practices. And so I feel like in this place where it feels like the first day of spring, right? The break in the cold, and you feel warmth for the first time. And you know things are going to be okay. It's all going to be okay, right? And there is a feeling of spirits rising, right? And being that you're in this place that is open and receptive and excited and, you know, just really locked in there. As I look at all these different things that I pointed out, I feel like there really is a movement into your faith, whatever that is. It doesn't have to be any particular faith or spirituality or belief system. This is individual to each of us. It doesn't have to be anything recognized or created by somebody else or followed by many. This could be something very particular to you. Or not. Maybe it is something that is very, you know, well attended. And I just see you really turning towards that place of meaning, that place of belief, that place of feeling like you have been filled up, right? By spirit, by cosmos, by the security of understanding, right? And maybe in the sciences or, you know, the theoretical philosophy, whatever it is for you. And so I do. I feel like there is so much love in this path for you. There's a lot of self-love, and that's the big thing here that sticks out to me. This is so much about you coming into a real and deep confidence, okay? Not something worldly, not something, that is dependent on something that is superficial or, very temporary or anything like this. No, this is something profoundly unique to you. It is tied to your soul, to your experience, and to your psyche. I mean, that really, it's a beautiful, beautiful time for Scorpio. I can't emphasize that enough. And listen, I have to say, it could be that the thing that is causing you to come into this place of evolution is that you're coming off of like a real SH, right? I'm not going to curse here. SH situation. It could be that you've had a tower moment. It could be that you have just lost interest. You've lost faith in the world. You just can't believe what's going on, right? And it's like, where do I turn? I don't know about you, but I turn into myself. Not in it can be kind of in a hiding away, bed rotting kind of way. But I feel like when you turn into your interior landscape, when you start to find the divine in your life, because let's face it, we all get to these points where we're so busy with the world outside of ourselves, outside of our personal lives. Right? We go out we get our little costumes on, our human suits on. We go out into the world. We make money. We interact with people. We try to find meaning. We try to, be consistent, stable, whatever it is that's important to you. And we're so busy with that world that we even forget that there's somewhere else. There's many other places, right? And so I do feel like when we come into crisis, that's when we remember there are places to go. And a lot of times that exists within ourselves, right? That is the doorway to the divine. And so I feel you really, really getting in there. Growing. Now, doing the things in the real world that you want to do, of course, we were talking about, that fiery creative energy, that burst of just resolve. But also I see you're not going to neglect that interior, because I think they're tied together so much. So I wouldn't be surprised if you are going into, or if you're creating something, or you have a business that has something to do with that interior world, with your spirituality, with your faith, okay? So let's go ahead. We're going to take a look at the plate over here. We have another serpent, and we have... it looks like an S. It almost looks like it says ISA, if that means anything. I don't know. With thunder. I feel like, all of this said, there's also kind of this, I think, fear of not wanting to rock the boat, not wanting to cause any kind of conflict. Also, I think you just are really tired of having to explain yourself to people. And I feel like at this point, you're just kind of doing what you know you need to do. And I don't even feel like you're keeping everybody in the loop about it, right? I think that there's almost this sense of like sharing fatigue, if that makes sense. Like you've been so open and sharing and keeping people, you know, along with you on your journey. And I'm thinking like, you know, like posting on social media or, you know, calling your, you know, best friends every time something happens or whatever. And I don't think it's like that you are mad at anybody or you're just like feeling, you know, poorly towards people in general. I think it's just kind of like I am so tired of having to curate a story around what's happening. I just want to do the thing. And when I get somewhere with it, then I'll share. And I think that maybe isn't how you've always operated, and maybe people in your life are kind of a little like, you know, hurt or feel like, well, why didn't you tell me about this? Like, you know, who else knows about it? Who knew about it before me? You know, that kind of vibe. And I feel like for you, it's kind of, this is all distractive. It's distractive. It's not your job to keep people informed about everything you're doing. In fact, I think it's important for us to have private things, especially when we are working on something important. I do. I think the most important work happens with nobody knowing about it. That's not to say that you can never talk about it, but I think that when you really are like, you know, the witness and the participant, you have to keep, like, you're the one that's keeping yourself motivated. You're the one that's auditing the thing, you know? You're the one that's judging and, you know, re-articulating in the ways that you need to. And to have that happen without other people's input or just their gaze, I think that it ends up being deeper work because it's not performative, or at least, you know, it usually is not. And so, you know, I think that, yeah, if that's how you roll now, then that's how you roll. Don't feel like you owe anything to anybody about your personal life, you know? We all have the right to privacy. Let me just emphasize that. We all have the right to privacy, even within our relationships, period. So anyways, let's go ahead. We're going to do our 3 lucky numbers. Number 100. I was a few days ago, I'm like, I've never gotten the 100. And then now I've had it like 3 days in a row. Okay, let's see. Number 71. Number 71. 100 again. We'll do it one more time. Come on. Number 4. Okay, that's good. Now we're going to do our self-care affirmation cards. I'm going to flip through, stop where it feels right. All right, cleansing energy. I purify myself with positive energy. I cleanse toxicity and habits that don't serve me. In this space, I cultivate wholeness and embrace a cleansing energy. And embrace a cleansing energy. All right. Well, Scorpio, I'm going to go ahead and tell you I love you because I do. And I want to thank you for spending this time with me. It's always such an honor for me. Now, if you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, I would love to hear from you. Other than that, again, I just want to say, please take care of yourself. I love you. We'll talk in a few days. Good night.